Okay, it's done. Hey, how's it going? I got a new lens for my camera. I hope you're excited about that. I am too. It was really annoying seeing those little spots on the screen. Anyways, got some spare money, bought a new lens, we're good to go. As I said earlier, I'm going to be starting on the exhaust side, so the hot side for my turbo pipes. I did this pipe not on film because I wanted to know how to do it. I had to figure out how to do it. I had to go through a lot of trial and error. It was very hard. It's very challenging, and that's what I really like about it. So now I've got a general idea how to get the pipes in here, and get them bent out to be the actual shape of the flange, because that all has to be done by hand. Since I don't have tools, I literally have a chop saw grinder and a 90-degree cutting wheel grinder. That's all I have for tools and my TIG. So yeah, all this I made from scratch. This piece of the collector I stole off of my old pipes for my turbo, but I had to make them fit these pipes because these pipes were a different size. So I technically did make it other than using this steel. So I had to hammer with, and it was hard to fill in gaps and stuff. Like, it was the trial run, and that's why I did my trial run on the back. Everything's sealed up, welds are good. So I'm gonna do the front of the engine now where it has to be more presentable. I'm gonna take you along for the ride and you can watch me how I done it. And all it takes for anything is just hard work, trial and error, persistence. So I'm just gonna show you how I did it and enjoy. So this is the side I'm working on now, which is the front of the engine, which is gonna be facing the front bumper. I'm gonna have to figure out where I'm gonna want my collector. And then from there, I can run pipes to and from wherever. And there's stuff I have to avoid. There's a distributor that goes in here. That can't get hot. I can't get my oil cooler lines hot. You know what I mean? So I've got to figure out where my collector's got to be accordingly. So this is the old collector I will be using. I'm going to clean it up, fill that hole, and then reuse it on my front of the engine. I'm going to cut all these pieces out from the old system and then start from scratch. Okay, I've got her cleaned up pretty good. Got to fill that hole later on, but right now I'm just trying to get all the cutting done. The way I'm gonna make this collector is I'm gonna have 3 pieces of steel, not these exact ones, they're gonna be bent ones, together like this. And I'm going to weld these ones together, tack them all together, and then bend the centers together so there isn't this hole here, and then weld it solid. So when I put this on top, it's sealed. So there isn't that little hole in the middle, it'll be all sealed up. And then all I gotta do is bend those in, weld all the way around, and it's good to go. For my collector, I'm going to use about 20 degrees, 15 to 20 degrees of a bend on each. So when they come out on a bit of an angle, I can weld around the entire pipe. So I'm gonna make 3 the exact same length, and then I can pivot them in whatever direction I desire once I mock up the collector. Okay, I got them all cut up, and now I have the option of directing them any way I want. I think it's gonna be something like this. I think that looks sweet. So I can collect this sort of underneath where the oil pan starts to go down, and bring it back into a 2-inch pipe or whatever I'm gonna use. So now I'm gonna make the pipes that go to the collector, then I can coordinate where and what position I want these on, then I can weld the collector up. So this is how I want my collector look about. It's hard to just holding it untacked, but I'm gonna have this tube running to there, this tube running to the far, and this tube running to the right. And after this exhaust runs and collects to this one, it's got to come back over here out until where the turbo is, if that makes any sense. Okay, I'm going to start on this port here, and I'm going to run it down to this left port on here. So I'm going to run a pipe to the right a bit and down to get around this rubber here for my oil cooler. So again, right and down. And it's gonna have to angle out towards the camera and then back in. so it doesn't jump around too much. And I'm gonna start there. Okay, I'm gonna try and demonstrate how I'm doing this with one hand. Let's see. So I have the collector right here. This is the left port, which is gonna be the left exhaust, which is number 2 on the cylinder. So I marked this off camera, lined up right there, and I'm gonna show you where it's gonna line up on the other one. If I'm a balancing machine. Right there. So looks sick. I'm just gonna tack this up so then I can move on to the second port.
We gotta keep it low key.
So what I did for every time I changed the pipe, I marked it so I knew the orientation. I'm gonna see how it worked out. Gonna slide this in there. Cool. So yeah, like I said, I made a mark there, meet them up, tack them up. Again, made a mark there, tack them up, and I'm gonna see how it works on the collector. It's working good. So my first one's all done. Now the second one goes to here. Obviously this is gonna get banged out, so once this gets tacked in to the flange, you go from the other side and bang it out with a pickle fork. I will show that later. I did a quick little tack here just to hold everything together so I can mock up the 4-cylinder to the second tube. And I changed my mind. I'm gonna put this number 2 cylinder to the top port just so I have more room for my big 2.5 inch through here. This is one in here is gonna be going to the turbo. Now I'm going to tack the second part to my collector for the 4-cylinder. Got the second one tacked up, and now I'm gonna do the third one for the 1, 2, 3, 4, the 6th cylinder. Got the next 2 all tacked up. It's honestly looking very symmetrical, very clean cut. So here's the hard part. I got this one tacked up and I need to do 2 more. And when doing these 2, tacking them up, it's gonna make this hard to weld. So the next step is to finish my collector, do the fill welding in here, finish welding these 2 so these don't get in the way later, and then continue on with these. Okay, I got everything tacked up for now and I've got it on the table. I'm gonna do a little bit more welding so nothing moves. And then I'm going to fill in the center hole. Okay, got some welding done on these pipes for the first tube here. Looking pretty good. Now I'm gonna move on, do the center here. Now that I got each one fully welded to each other, I'm gonna try and get the center pieces closer together with a pickle fork. I pickle forked everything towards the center and it's actually mating, which is amazing for TIG welding. That makes my life real easy. So now I'm just gonna weld it all up and then I can move on to doing the rest of the tubing. That turned out really well. I'm pretty freaking happy with that. These are only 1.5 inch pipes, so this looks big on your screen, but these are like just a little bit thicker than 2 fingers. Not even. Anyways, this is like minuscule welding here, and it's going very well in my favor. I'm just gonna throw the collector on, tack it, and then pickle fork all the way around, then fully weld it, and then the collector is done. So right now I've got it on the engine onto the pipes, and I'm gonna tack it exactly where I want the end pipe to point at. So I don't want it to point at the oil pan. I want it to point just to the right of that opening and get it as close to the left as I can, so I can get a big 2.5 inch coming towards the camera to go to the turbo after the two collect. Holy crap. Alright, I've been welding for probably an hour on the collector, and the collector's done. Just needs a little bit more later on, but I'm just so done with welding right now. I got burnt a couple times. Anyways, it's in. I'm happy with the direction. So this port is going to be for number 4, and this port is going to be for number 6. And I can start on that now, and I'm well on my way to having this side done as well. Just got it back onto the engine after welding this pipe, and it's looking amazing. I'm loving it. Everything's nice, tight quarters, all that good stuff. I'm loving the look. So now I'm gonna do the number 6 down here and keep it as tight as I can from here on. it's almost time for the last piece of the puzzle. I've got the last runner for the front side of the engine. Those two are complete. They just need welded in on the top, hammered out, all that good stuff. But here she is. Everything fits so snug. That's how it's gonna be. All right, now I'm gonna weld it all in, get it in position. It's not in far enough right now. Weld it in, and this is gonna be a tricky weld because I have to go in between these pipes and in between those pipes. That'll be really interesting to do, but it's almost done. It's exactly how I wanted it to look. Okay, now I've got the manifold on the table, and now I need to hammer all that pipe until it's flush. I use a pickle fork, that's all I've got. There's a legit tool for it to spread the pipe like this, but I'm just gonna pickle fork it to death and get it to shape. Okay, after some hammering, she looks like that. These ones haven't been done yet, obviously, but that's how much the pipe stretches out. So now I can do a nice bead in there. Look at the gaps in these ones. Those ones will need to be done, but yeah, this one's ready to weld. Okay, I got this pipe welded. Now I'm gonna let it cool and bang out this one in the meantime. Okay, I got this one all hammered out. It's looking pretty good. Again, that's how it starts out. And it's all gotta be banged out so it flows nice and smoothly into the pipe. Time to weld again. I'll go all the way around. Then again, let it cool. And when it's cooling, I will hammer out that last pipe. Done on the second pipe, moving on to the third. Almost done. Got the last one all hammered out. Please bear with me, guys. Like, it's hard for me to film everything because the camera is always right in the way. So yeah, now I'm going to weld around the last pipe, and then this entire header is done, except for this hole I have to fill. Looking sick. This is a happy moment for me. Okay, it's done. And it's done. I'm stoked, and they are looking awesome. I haven't cleaned them up yet. I'm probably gonna sand and buff them so they are like a mirror finish like this all over, including the welds. So once it's running and it gets hot for the first time, the pipes will be brown and even brown. Like, you won't see the color of the welds as much. I don't want to see that. I want to look like it came off the shelf at a shop. You know what I mean? It looks amazing. I'm very happy. This is my first headers set I've ever made. So I routed it like this because I wanted routed differently than the eBay turbo setup. Normally they collect at the bottom, like mine's gonna have to, and goes underneath here and up. So the turbo would sit about here, okay? The reason why I don't like that is because this is in the way, and this is the factory cross member. And to have the turbo mounted here, this needs to be modified. So I don't want anything cut that's factory. This car is so clean, I don't want to cut anything. So everything that goes on is bolt on, bolt off, no bullshit. So I wanted to try something different. So yeah, my collector is gonna come up through here, and then my turbo is gonna be somewhere in here, or just underneath my rad support. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I can't wait. And I'm gonna clean these guys up. Oh, it's still warm, but gonna clean them up, make them look really nice. And then I'm gonna continue with the connector on the bottom. That's gonna be another tricky spot. And I'll keep you posted. I'll make videos and all that good stuff. All right, like, subscribe, and I will get back to you in the next video.